Hello. So guys, what's the shape of the Earth? Is it flat or is it a ball? We have a lot of evidence that the Earth is actually flat. There is absolutely zero evidence that the Earth is a ball. Um, the physics are physics. Nobody can mess with them. Uh, These are flat Earth physics. Nobody can mess with them. Okay, the physics perfectly align with a flat Earth. The physics don't align with a ball Earth. Perspective, for example, like space, spatial relations. But let's get to the fiberglass. Fiberglass cables, everybody knows what fiberglass cables are these days. Fiberglass cables are connecting continents with internet. That's how you can listen to me, is because of fiberglass cables. They lie them onto the bottom of the ocean. They span long distances between continents, and they're using fiberglass cables. They are extremely fast because, for example, we can live stream with a very low latency today. It's just a few seconds. It just takes a few seconds for an information to get from Europe, for example, to Australia or wherever you are. Europe to America, or you're in Brazil and you call somebody with a video live stream in China. It's just gonna take a few seconds, 1, 2, 3 seconds. It's extremely fast. These fiberglass cables, what are these? Actually, they shoot light through these cables, and of course, as the word says, fiberglass, it's glass, it's made of glass, some sort of glass. But the point here is, how do fiberglass cables actually reveal something about the true physical shape of the Earth? Because you would lay fiberglass cables in this way, connect A and B with the shortest distance, with the lowest costs. That's what you would do, that's what anybody would do. You wouldn't go up or down unnecessarily. You wouldn't create like pathways that are extremely far, that aren't directly going. Okay, if there are land masses or something, maybe you go around them. If you say, okay, we lay these fiberglass cables only in the ocean, but then again, you wouldn't unnecessarily lay them in a way that it takes too much distance and too much costs as well. Okay, so you can read off of fiberglass cables, and there are maps for this. I'm gonna show you one, not here because I cannot really add any pictures or something to this live, that's sad, but I'm gonna make a new live one of these days, or a video. I think I have a video with fiberglass cables, but doesn't matter now. I will show it to you that these fiberglass cables are arranged in a certain way, laid out across Earth, across the continents, to connect those continents in a certain way that reveal something about the shape of the Earth. Same like airlines. But you know, some people have problems with airlines because they say, well, maybe it's to connect just certain cities with each other, or they come up with all kinds of excuses. So you don't just have airlines, but you also have fiberglass cables, and these are laid in such a way that they connect continents with the shortest distance. Okay. So they don't. That's practical reality. They don't. They don't go up or down on a ball or anything, or do take turns unnecessarily, because it's also about cost and it's about effectiveness. They want to connect continents as fast as possible. So if you have a fiberglass cable, for example, within a few seconds, now you can live stream around the whole world. Okay. And the thing is that these fiberglass cables reveal the same thing that airlines do, that some the way they are laid doesn't align with a spherical shape of Earth, but it perfectly makes sense with a flat Earth. Same with the airlines. And there are maps where you can see how these fiberglass cables are laid. It's actually cool that we get that we have this kind of transparency, that they let us know how these fiberglass cables are laid. It's good information, and it can reveal something about the shape of the Earth, just like airlines. It means that you want to connect two destinations with the shortest distance, and you wouldn't go unnecessarily up or down or take turns, you know. So that shows that Earth is flat. Why? Because there are really zero fiberglass cables that go close to Antarctica. Okay, they don't go around a supposed South Pole. You can just Google these maps right now as we speak and look at them. They don't go around a ball, around a supposed South Pole. Okay, these fiberglass cables are laid along continents, and mostly in the northern region. Okay, mostly connecting the big players like US, Europe, and then you have other routes. When you look at them, you'll see they don't really connect those parts of countries or continents that should actually be coming together on a spherical ball in the southern hemisphere. Right? These distances get smaller on a sphere, but since the Earth is not a sphere and the Earth is flat, they don't lay out these fiberglass cables in this way, of course, because they do what is practically possible and necessary, and the best way to, and the fastest way and the shortest way to connect continents, and also cost effective. Okay, they wouldn't take unnecessary turns, or just like airlines basically, but still people find excuses. So Now you have two things. You have airlines and you have fiberglass cables that reveal the shape of the Earth, the true shape of the Earth, which is a flat surface. There is no ball. There is no southern pole, say southern region, and the Antarctica is just like a circle um, that keeps all the water masses, like the oceans, um, in place where they are. And you don't find fiberglass cables that go across the South Pole because it doesn't exist. Okay? The South Pole does not exist in the sense of Earth were a ball, some sort of sphere or something, and that you could connect Australia with South Africa or South America like directly. No, that's not how it works. We live in a physical reality, and there is a true physical shape of Earth, and people should be allowed to talk about this just like you talk about the physical shape of anything. You know, man and woman, physical truth. A man has a physical truth, a woman has a physical truth. A man cannot bear children. You know, we all came out of women. There is a physical truth. Okay, and that aligns with actual science. And so talking about the physical shape of the earth is important, is needed in today's world, for people to also use the correct science. There's a lot of pseudoscience out there, okay? Especially when it comes to objects flying through space and rotating and everything, and then further, you know, all the kinds of deceptions that come with this. So use fiberglass cables, use airlines. The information is free, the information is out there. You can just Google it. You get maps of fiberglass cables, you can see how they are laid out. It's like a network that connects all the continents, and fiberglass cables are being laid at the bottom of the ocean, okay, to connect land masses. And fiberglass cables are made of fiberglass, like some sort of glass, and light is being shot through these cables, and that's why we can talk to each other around the world within just a few seconds. Okay. Leaving behind a huge distance, but still the shortest distance. You would not have a fiberglass cable that like looks like a snake or something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's turning here and there and whatnot. You would do it in a way that it's the most straight that you can make it, right? To connect two continents, for example. And whenever it comes to land, then of course these will not be laid just upon the floor or something, but they would either be buried down in the earth, or you have also, how are these called, above land cables. I don't know how you call them, but you have two ways of doing that. But when it comes to oceans, you basically have a free path, in the sense of you can lay them out very strictly straight, right? Very efficient, because you don't have to deal with a lot of countries, land masses or something, mountains, anything like that. So these are just laying on the floor at the bottom of the ocean somewhere, and they connect continents with each other, and you would do it in a way that you take the shortest distance between two destinations. Same with an airline, but since people come up with excuses when it comes to airlines, now you have a second thing, which is fiberglass cables, and you put them together, it makes perfect sense on a flat earth. Both airlines and fiberglass cables make perfect sense on a flat earth, but when you put the way they are laid out on a globe, it doesn't make sense anymore, because now you're going up and then down and then beyond the equator and then back. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so that's what people have to realize about the physical shape, physical truth of the earth. There is a physical truth. Don't be deceived. Just like man and woman have a physical truth, earth has a physical truth. Just like an apple tree has a different physical truth than a pear tree or a lemon tree. Okay, there is a physical truth. And we gather evidence, information, of course, to determine the true physical shape of Earth. And if there is absolutely no evidence for some sort of ball, if there is absolutely no evidence, then you can clearly say it's not a ball. Okay, and all the physics aligns with that. That's cool, right? Getting also to the true correct science instead of living in pseudosciences. Getting to practical reality. In practical reality are airlines and fiberglass cables. And you can see by the route that they are taking, in practical reality, trying to connect two destinations with the shortest amount of effort, with the shortest amount of distance, that Earth is flat. There is no ball sphere shape, because on a southern hemisphere, if the Earth was a ball, the distances get shorter again, because that's what a ball is. That's if you have a south pole, then if you have countries there, continents that are on the southern hemisphere, then the distances get shorter, right? That's the essence of a ball. That's the theory. But then again, you have practical reality, and in practical reality, we're not connecting them directly. That seems strange. You see? But again, on a flat Earth map, it makes perfectly sense, and people should be allowed to talk about this. Again, it's the physical shape of Earth. Why do people make it a secret, or have made it a secret? I cannot really tell you what went on in the heads of these people that created this whole thing. I have theories, of course, but it's not even about that, because we can find the truth. Okay, we don't need them to tell us the truth. Okay, and we do so through using the spirits, realizing that there is a physical truth to everything. There is a physical difference between an apple tree and a lemon tree, right? And how would you figure out what is what? Well, you might gather some evidence, some research, do some research, right? For example, by observing. Okay, you go to the leaves, for example, first. You say, okay, well, there are trees that have very similar leaves. So you would stay there and say, well, we cannot still tell what is what, which is which, because those leaves are looking so similar that it's deceiving. That if we would say one is this is that tree, we could be wrong, right? So we gather more evidence. We say now, okay, we're looking at the fruits, and the fruits are often the most clear distinction between trees, right? And then you can tell. Okay, so now you have airlines and fiberglass cables. Two things, not just airlines, because then people come out with excuses, but you have two things, airlines and fiberglass cables that are laid out in a way, that are routed in a way that makes perfect sense on a flat earth, connecting destinations in the shortest manner, but it does not make sense, absolutely does not make sense on a ball earth. And then you know, okay, there's a physical truth. One is the truth, the other is a lie. It's very simple. When you gather the right information. You know, if you're looking at stars and you're just saying, okay, well, these stars are just so far away, then of course a ball shape can make sense in that concept. You see, because you have absolutely no method to verify the actual distances of stars. So if somebody tells you, yeah, that star is just so far away that, for example, take the North Star, that wherever we are in the seasons, again coming back to the heliocentric model, the Earth is revolving around the Sun supposedly, and then you have a Polaris star, North Star, that never changes, always stays in the same position. Of course, then the theory is, well, it's just so far away, but you never have an actual method to verify that truth. So of course, if you believe that, then for you it is very easy to believe that lie, because then you're saying, yeah, somehow it makes sense, okay, it must be like this. But what you need to do is come back to Earth. You know, don't look at stars. We're looking for the shape of the Earth that you're standing on, and then there's practical reality, because there's a physical shape, there's physical reality. And then you look at airlines, practical reality. You look at fiberglass cables, practical reality. And then you can also look at the moon again, for example, say, well, you have a shift in the surface of the moon during a full moon, when it rises and when it sets, so perspective creates that. That means the moon is much closer to Earth. Okay? Otherwise, if the moon were so far away and we're just turning around a supposed ball with a diameter of 12,000 kilometers, but then you have a distance to the moon of 300,000 kilometers, there's a ratio that would not change the surface of the moon, whether you're standing in the east or in the west of the Earth. Okay, so that's also something that then you can add to this whole thing and realize the true physical shape of the Earth, which is beautiful. We should be allowed to talk about it, we should be allowed to know this. Why did they even lie about this? I don't get it, but they have their reasons. All we can do is just research, use our brains, right? And tell each other about it. We don't even have to go to any or after anyone. All we just do is research physical matters, informational matters. That's all. So fiberglass cables could be just another evidence. No, it is another evidence, just like airlines, for the shape of the Earth, the true shape of the Earth, physical reality, the way fiberglass cables are laid out. Makes perfect sense on a flat Earth map. You can check Google, do your research about fiberglass cables. There is transparent knowledge out there, transparent information, how these cables are being laid out, routed to connect continents, and you'll see easily, just like with airplanes and airlines, that some something some things don't make sense on the southern hemisphere, but they make perfectly sense when you realize that the Earth is flat. And I've talked about it now for the rest for 25 minutes, but two people come in. So, is the Earth flat or is it a ball? You can use fiberglass cables besides airlines, because some people have problems with using airlines. They come up with other excuses, right? Because it's just airlines in the sky, but then you have fiberglass cables that connect continents across the Earth. And there's a physical practicality, physical reality to this. You want to connect two destinations with the shortest distance. So how would you lay them? Of course, in a certain way, directly, right? So it makes perfect sense when you look at maps of fiberglass cables. It makes perfect sense on a flat Earth map, but it does not make sense on a globe map, on a southern hemisphere. Why? Because on the southern hemisphere there are continents that come closer to each other, like Australia, South Africa, South America. So you would have cables that connect these destinations directly, but in practical reality that's not what's happening. Okay, so in truth these fiberglass cables are being laid out in another manner, still directly, but it makes perfect sense on a flat Earth. It does not make sense on a ball Earth. And again, now you have two things. You have airlines, you have fiberglass cables. Practical reality, they both show that the Earth is flat and not a ball. And that's the physical reality, that's the physical truth. You have a physical truth, your body has a physical truth, trees have a physical truth. You have a physical truth, a difference between apple tree and pear trees, difference between pear trees and lemon trees. How do you figure out the difference, their difference? By gathering evidence, by looking at leaves, for example. If the leaves look the same, then you turn to something else, you turn to the fruits, and then you can distinguish them. If the fruits look the same, which is very rare, almost never happens, then you can turn to the bark, you see, and there might be a difference, and then you can tell one from another. There is a physical reality. And the same with the shape of the Earth. There is a physical truth, physical reality to this whole thing. And then you come also to the correct science. No pseudoscience, but the correct science, because the correct science aligns perfectly with the physical truth of Earth. Okay, and so when you have fiberglass cables, when you take these, they are routed in a certain way that makes perfect sense on a flat map. Okay, but once you put the same routing onto a globe model, it doesn't make sense anymore, because they go up and down just like airlines, as I showed you with airlines. Doesn't make sense anymore if you want to connect two destinations with the shortest distance. Okay, because as you know, on a globe, Australia, South America, South Africa, they should all be coming closer to each other, and it would be convenient to just connect these three continents via the southern hemisphere. Yet when you look at fiberglass cable maps, and it's cool that we have this transparency here, that they give us the knowledge how they are being laid, it makes perfectly sense on a flat map, makes no sense on a ball Earth. So, what's the shape of the Earth? 33% flat, 67% ball. The other day I had 56% flat, 40 something, 44% ball. So it's constantly changing. I don't know who is coming by. Yeah, it's sad if people think that the Earth is a ball, because that's not the physical truth. We have practical reality, which is airlines and fiberglass cables, and these are laid out in a certain way, and that way is to connect two continents with the shortest amount of distance, shortest amount of costs, or lowest amount of cost. Also, the most effective way. That's what it is. And it perfectly aligns with flat Earth, but does not align with the spherical shape of Earth, since on a spherical ball, southern countries, southern continents would be coming closer again to each other, yet you don't get any connections there, neither with airlines nor with fiberglass cables. So you have even two things, two facts. Okay, if people listen to airlines and they doubt that, they come up with excuses, then take fiberglass cables. Okay, and if then you still have doubts, then take the moon. Okay, say, okay, because of perspective, the surface of the full moon changes when it goes from east to west. It changes. This can only happen when the moon is close to Earth, not 300,000 kilometers away. Okay? Because if you look at an object that is so far away, while you're just going along a diameter of 12,000 kilometers, then there is no difference in the surface that you're looking at. Okay, so this is just another fact that you can take. And if then people have excuses, there is no help for that. Okay, I'm sorry, but it's what it is. There is physical reality, there is science that is correct, and there is physical lies or deceptions through graphics and models and fashionings or whatever, and they are false. They don't align with reality, they don't represent reality, and it leads to pseudoscience. Doesn't align with truth. And don't ask me why they lied about the shape of the Earth. They had their reasons. We don't have to go after them. We just gather the evidence that is out there, that we can have, even without internet, just through observation with your own eyes, naked eyes or whatever, and you gather evidence, and you come to the conclusion that the Earth has a certain shape. There is a physical reality, and it does not align with a ball. It does not align with a heliocentric model. And that's the truth. Physical truth. Okay?